You're good.
All right, here we go. Today is January 23rd. The time is 6:06, and this work session meeting is called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brusher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Freeman.
Present.
Adequate notice?
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by an annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, the Sentinel, and Dizzy Talk on December 1st, 2022, and posted in Main Lobby Municipal Complex on that same date.
At this time, I'd like to open up for oral petitions and remarks. We'll start from the list. Maria Orchid.
Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson.
Thank you. You have the floor.
Thank you. Happy Lunar New Year to all of Edison residents. Now until February 11th, beautiful Edison is collecting blankets, coats, and gently used men's and women's clothing. We will have 2 drop-off locations. One is Little Genius on Amboy, and the other is Cypress Brewery on 30th Nixon Lane. Check our website, Beautiful Edison, for further details. The blankets will be going to the homeless shelters, and the clothes will be to thrift stores in the area. Next council meeting on Wednesday, January 25th, the Edison Environmental Commission will be giving a presentation for our last year's activities. We look forward to this year's. Question, when we were meeting last week with our fellow Metuchen environmental specialists, they mentioned the deer population. So I was wondering if we have an update on the deer population and what our future plans would be. If you have an update on the Senior Citizen Center, when that would be opening. When our storm weather plans, it's been concerned that as the weather changes, want to make sure that all the residents are prepared. Lastly, if you see something, please say something. There has been a large number of catalytic converters thefts in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Orchid. To our BA, if it's possible, I know several years ago there was a deer population study done. If we can get an update on that. And could you provide an update as to the senior center?
With regard to the senior center, it'll be completed by the end of the month, so beginning of next week.
Thank you very much. Next on the list, Joel Bassoff.
Good evening, Joel Bassoff, 17 Beach Lane.
Thank you. You have the floor.
I'd like to apprise the council of a couple of instances in which a public advocate would have made a huge difference. The zoning board considered a matter of a sign company wanting to put a huge digital billboard, essentially in people's backyards in the area of Durham Avenue and Route 287. The zoning board did the right thing and rejected that variance. However, the Superior Court Law Division issued an order directing the zoning board to grant the variance because no one brought in any experts to counter the experts that were put in by the sign company. So even if the zoning board does the right thing, if there's no one there to help the residents, then the residents will have essentially a widescreen TV jammed into their back windows with a picture that changes every 8 seconds. There's a similar case now pending in the zoning board near Old Post Road and the Turnpike. Same situation, the same sign company wants to put essentially a big screen TV in the back windows of people who live in that area. And there's no one to go to bat for them. They have to do it themselves. So I have a rhetorical question. Who on the council or in the administration would want to tell the people in that situation, thank you for paying your taxes to Edison, thank you for establishing the infrastructure that gives us a zoning board and a planning and engineering department, but when a developer wants to do something that will harm your quality of life, harm your property values, you're on your own. If you want to defend yourself, pay for it yourself. The township's not going to help you. So that's my rhetorical question. And with that, I'll finish. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Open to the rest of the public? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Public portion is now closed. Next up, item number 5 from the administrative agenda, the reappointment of John Soltes as Class 2 Planning Board member. Any questions or comments from the council colleagues? Hearing none. Reports from all council committees. Before we do that, it is my intention that the next meeting on Wednesday, during my council president remarks, I will give an update as to the subcommittee makeups for the subcommittees of the council. Outside of that, any council committee reports?
Yes, I do.
Council Vice President Harris.
As liaison to the library board, the meeting was held on January 19th at 7 PM right here in council chambers. And that was actually the night of the letter that came from the mayor about the fact that the library from Clara Barton will not be moving. And so there were a number of people from the Clara Barton section who voiced their delight at that particular declaration, and their gratitude for the fact that the mayor listened. So they talked about also that one of the things that was that came from the protest of this was more of a sense of community for Clara Barton. So let's see if there was anything else. The North Edison branch construction project. The professional contract for interior design and placement services was tabled for now, and the potential relocation property during renovation, they are exploring a lease space in Menlo Park Mall for the period of the renovation. They are not sure how long that would take, but they are looking into that at this point. I think that it had been done before. So more on that hopefully at the next meeting, which will be February 7th, 2023 at 7 PM. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comments?
And Council President, the Housing Authority met and they did a reorganization. And so they're moving forward and along with their RAD program. And the new president is Barry Tesnick. People probably know him.
Thank you, Councilwoman Shep-Freeman. Any other comments from my colleagues? Hearing none, we'll move on to points of light.
Council President, just wanted to ask the administration for a meeting with DPW for February 6th or February 8th. If we can meet here before the council meeting, preferably later. I mean, I know they like to meet at the convenience of their time, but, you know, Councilman Patil works late, I work late, so the meeting has to happen after 5 o'clock. This is my second request trying to reach out to him, so I don't know whether he received an email or not, that's all. That's all. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to points of light. Anyone from the council with any points of light?
Yes, Council President.
Council Vice President Harris.
Okay, hi. So on January 14th, a week ago, last Saturday, the Martin Luther King Jr. birthday celebration and African American Heritage Month tribute took place at the Minnieville Center, and it really was a fabulous event. Once again, Joyce Furcha, Director of Recreation, did a great job with this, and it was so impressive to see people, the diversity of this town, the diversity showed up in its diversity at this event. It was impressive to see all the pictures that were drawn by the young children of Martin Luther King or of things that would represent his dream. And it was the most impressive part, and I think it was so moving, was the program highlight was, the highlight was a young orator whose name is, where is he? His name, finally, where is it? Can't find him. Councilman Chip Freeman, do you remember his name?
No, I don't have it on the
I
paper.
don't know, okay, either. Anyway, 9-year-old from South Plainfield who gave a speech that was just, it really, it knocked my socks off, and I think it did the rest of the audience as well. There was a standing ovation from the crowd, and it really was it was so, oh, here it is. Caleb Porter. It was Lifting Our Voices Through Speech, Positivity, and Connection, Caleb Porter. And he's he's been chosen as one of the New Jersey orators. Really terrific. This kid is gonna go somewhere. So it was a great event, and I look forward to this being an annual event, and look forward to seeing this next year. The other thing I wanted to mention was that Councilwoman Chip Freeman, Councilman Patel, and I attended this was conversations with the National Council of Jewish Women at the JCC yesterday, and this was put on through the New Jersey Department of Children and Families. And a lot of information given about especially issues affecting women, and whether that is, whether there are issues with displaced homemakers, abuse, girls' leadership development program. This is all about helping women empower themselves and find the resources that they need. And what I'm going to do, this particular document that actually Cassidy had sent is 17 pages long. If anyone wants to email me to have me send this to them, you can email me at the council address, which is mharris@edisonnj.gov. And I'd be happy to send this to you. I've also included, I've got some of these copies of these hotlines, toll-free hotlines and helplines that you might want to pick up, and I'll bring them back on Wednesday as well. But these are really, I think, useful phone numbers to have at hand. But a really great partnership between the New Jersey Council and the Council of Jewish Women and the Department of Children and Families. So, as I said, if you want the big document here, I'd be glad to send the link along to you from my council email. Thank you very much, Council.
Thank you, Council Vice President Harris. Any other comments?
Yes.
Councilwoman Chip Freeman?
To piggyback off of one thing that she said too, a lot was discussed about reproductive rights, and that's the big fight throughout the United States now, reproductive rights for women, and young women are there at the forefront taking care of this. Now, we're talking about health, and we're talking about the pandemic, and we're talking about how people were just locked away and some things they didn't take care of. Well, what we are doing, along with the mayor, Meridian Hospital, along with the YMCA, we're going to have a Heart Health Festival on February 25th. It's from 11 to 2 o'clock. And for a good buy-in for everyone, we're having caricature drawing for free. We're having henna for free. We're having like line dancing and parts of Zumba. So you can come in and see how your heart beats and how it ticks up and how it's so important for us to, now that we're coming back out, to maintain our health, and how we're gonna be like, families come out, you can get they can teach you how to use your blood pressure, they can check your heart and tell you about your heart rate, they can tell you about your pulse rate, different snacks and stuff. We'll have healthy snacks for you, and we'll have ways to teach you how to eat, because when I found out that more people died from the heart than died from cancer, that people don't know that. So I want everybody to come out, because we want to be a healthy Edison once we come out. So remember, flyers will be coming out this week. We were presenting on February 25th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Thomas Jefferson Middle School. And you know what? be on time, because we're going to be on time. And if you miss it, you miss the caricatures, you'll miss all the dancing, you'll miss the henna, you'll miss a lot if you do not get there on time, because it's a 3-hour affair. Please come out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Schiff Freeman. Any other points of light from my colleagues? Hearing none. In regards, I want to wish everyone celebrating a happy Lunar New Year. I thought the event on Saturday was a superb event. It was nice to see everyone that came out despite the weather and the coldness. And I'm also happy to see that every council member was there. The Recreation Department will be hosting its Valentine's Day Disability Dance on Friday, February 10th from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Minnie B. Veal Community Center. The Metuchen Edison Historical Society will be hosting a local history day on Sunday, February 19th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Metuchen Public Library. And the State of the Township will be Tuesday, February 28th at 7 p.m. at the Pines Manor. The mayor's speech is open to the public. With that, any other points of light? Hearing none, we'll go on to the agenda. 8, from the Business Administrator. A, resolution authorizing a non-fair and open contract to T&M Associates for environmental consulting services, $47,360. Item B, resolution authorizing the sale of surplus personal property no longer needed for public use to the city of Newark. C, resolution authorizing the mayor and township clerk to execute memorandum of understanding between the Township of Edison and the PBA Local 75 Police Benevolent Association. And D, resolution authorizing the mayor and township clerk to execute memorandum of understanding between the Township of Edison and the SOA Local 75 Superior Officers Association. Any questions or comments from my colleagues?
Yeah, Council President, it may be a matter of semantics, but on A, the resolution authorizing a non-fair and open contract, is there a way we can rebrand the non-fair thing? Because I look at that and it's like, I have this visceral reaction of, what, non-fair? Is there a way that could be renamed as something a little less?
No, actually, the state law requires that if you
Really?
don't do it pursuant to a fair and open process, that you have to, in the title, deem it to be non-fair and open. I believe it's shaming. No, seriously. No, I'm all kidding aside. There is a state regulation that requires that.
Okay.
So that's why we did that.
All right, thank you.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brescher?
For C and D, the PBA contract, I don't know the language that the BA might use, but it's very similar. I'm looking for the matrix or the rubrics that you used. The reason why I asked for that is I see that there's a 3% increase, let's say yearly. But then we did things with insurance and longevity, right? So the cost should be more. I just don't know if the cost is 4, 4.5, or what that might be. But you would have that if you did a rubrics or a matrix. I'm pretty sure you have one.
Yeah, and actually, Councilman, the business administrator and I talked about it. You're kind of looking for a cost of contract analysis, correct? And we're going to put that together for you because, as you indicated, you have to start off with, a zero contract would have an X increase because people move up in steps and those kind of things. So, absolutely, we're going to put it together for you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Coyle.
I just want to comment on C and D. I'm happy that this administration has taken the time to negotiate and fair for both sides, the town and our public safety and our police officers. When we look at our policemen and women that are out there every day, it is a huge strain on their life day to day. And our expectations of our police officers is of the highest. We expect them to, go on with lights and sirens, race to a call, go through traffic lights at high speeds, constant noise, answer radios at the same time, arrive at a scene with multiple situations going at the same time. Could be someone running at them, could be wires on the ground, could be a car upside down, could be multiple people arguing. And again, we expect nothing but a high expectation of what they do and how they act. And I'm really happy to see that we make sure that these contracts are set in place, that we have longevity of our officers. I mean, one thing Edison doesn't want is turnover. We want people to stay here. We want people to, come here as an officer and leave, with promotion, we hope, and stay here for 30 years and for them to get to know this town like so many other officers and captains that have been here. So I'm pleased to see how this worked out, and most important, benefits. I'm happy to see that the benefits have stayed in place for what they were before and they continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Coyle. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Item 9 from the Department of Finance. A, report of disbursements through January 19th, 2023. B, resolution authorizing refund in the amount of $243,109.20 for redemption of tax sale certificates. C, resolution authorizing refund of water overpayments totaling $163.16. And D, resolution authorizing the transfer of funds. Any questions or comments from my council colleagues? To the business administrator, I believe there's going to be an update in regards to item D.
Yes, we're just finalizing the transfer funds. We were looking at some numbers with regard to fueling. Just wanted to finalize before we put that here.
Okay. Please, just when that is finalized, please make sure to send out to all the council colleagues.
Of course.
Thank you. Item D, or item 10, from the Department of Health. A, resolution authorizing the execution of the interlocal health service contract between the township and the County of Middlesex for the County of Middlesex to provide a properly licensed health officer to the township. Any comments or questions?
Is this going to be like it was prior to this year, that we instead of us hiring a person with a health degree here, that we have somebody from the county be our health person?
My understanding is that previously Jay Elliott held the certificate that is required. Maybe I'm mistaken to our BA then.
No, actually, the health director at that point was not a health officer, licensed health officer. It is required to have a licensed health officer. We're currently trying to recruit a health director with a combination. It is quite hard to find. We're giving them some time to look, whoever applies as a candidate. But in the meantime, we are required to have a health officer in place, and that's why we go through the county services for this.
Thank
So
you.
we're actually just sharing the actual person with the title. This is not the county taking over your health department. This is just that we need to have somebody designated as that. And you'll notice, consistent with what the business administrator said, we're in the process of trying to hire somebody with the license. So this contract has a 30-day termination provision. So once we find somebody, we can terminate it and then move on.
Council President, I was disappointed during the pandemic and everything, and the only issue I'm having with this from Middlesex County, because he never met with us. We never were, no matter how many times we asked to see this mysterious guy from the county, we never did. So that's why I'm really questioning it for if will this guy report to us? Like when he's in that position, will he report to us? Because when Jay Elliott was in, I forget what the guy's name is, but he never came here at all. I never seen him. That's the only reason why I'm asking you questions, because I'm very, very concerned about health. I'm very concerned about if this pandemic explodes again, we're like in a sitting pattern. And I want us at Edison with this amount of people, and our people from Edison travel back and forth through every different country and stuff all the time. So I just want to make sure we're well covered. Okay, that's my question about that and putting forward. But, I think he might have told me it's 30 days and 30 days until we find a correct replacement. Is that correct?
Yes. The provision
The
you're
answer
referring
is
to.
that, so we have a 30-day termination. So we're in the process of of advertising and interviewing for a health officer. As soon as we hire one, this contract can be terminated within 30 days. It's not 30 days in length. I don't know that we think that we're going to solve this issue in 30 days. Just want to be clear. All I was saying is that we
Once we find somebody, we can then terminate this contract.
So once we find somebody, we have to vote again to terminate the contract of the guy from Middlesex County?
No, we would, once we hire somebody, that will administratively just terminate. You won't have to do anything. So presumably, if you hire a director of health, you'll vote on the appointment of the director of health, and as soon as you do that, then we'll terminate this contract.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
a question to the business administrator. She mentioned that it was difficult to find someone with this degree, or license, I should say. And my question was, we used to have 2 people in the town. The one retired, I guess, and then we had one still here. I don't know what happened, why the one left, but that other person did have that license. And once they left, then we were stuck. So we ended up having to go to the county, of which it's just really someone holding the license that we're paying them that much money. They don't perform any duties to the township. As my council colleague said, they didn't come to any meetings here. It's just a matter of holding the license, which seems a little excessive for what we pay. But is it difficult to find people for that?
It has. It's a very specialized license, and just on the first go-round, we actually scaled back on the advertisement where it was you had to have it and have experience for 5 years. We've now reduced it to 2, and the reason we said 2 is because it may take you that long to get a health officer license. I believe the exam is really just in May that you can do it, so we're trying to work with folks and making sure that we could have some flexibility with a new person coming on board. Not to say the specific requirement is that they're a public health advocate, and making sure that that's a huge part of the job description and duties.
So you didn't receive anybody that had any license that applied?
We're right now reviewing all of the resumes. While they may have a medical background, not necessarily they have the health officer license. So
Okay, so you haven't went through the resumes yet. That's, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Item 11 from the Department of Law. A, resolution designating the property commonly known on the township tax maps as Block 692E, lots 8B, 9A, 12, 13, and 14, with frontage along but no access to US Route 1 between John Street and Thomas Place as an area in need of redevelopment in accordance with the Public Housing Law, NJSA 40A 12A-1, and subsequent. Item B, resolution approving of settlement agreement and release. Any questions or comments?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Brescher.
I have a question for A and B, but with A, just to make sure I understand this, we had an area, it was in need with condemnation, and then we changed it to non-condemnation, but this has nothing to do with that, right? This is for the adjoining, is it properties or just one property?
It's a adjoining property, so one is across the street. That's the one that was previously done, and this one is across the street, which is on the frontage of Route 1.
So this would be like the house and the gas station?
Correct. But
Okay.
just for clarification, the house is not included in part of this.
Oh, the house isn't part of this?
No, so those would be properties, the lots 10 and 11, which aren't
Okay.
included.
All right, thank you on that one. On B, my attorney baffles me here, but I'm going to ask. I received this settlement agreement, and this settlement agreement was something where I guess it's confidential, we can't talk about it. And in reading it, the settlement agreement, this is kind of like a national kind of settlement, it looks like almost. I don't know what would be in there to be hidden from the public.
So, first, I don't know that there's anything here that's hidden from the public. What you got was a memorandum from my office, which was whenever we advise you with regards to action that you're going to take, we always, in this circumstance, because it involves litigation, we provide you a memorandum that's a confidential memorandum so that you can make your decision. Once you make your decision, then it would be not confidential, but there's nothing, the actual settlement agreement itself is, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. There were many lawsuits that were filed with regards to the concealed carry law in New Jersey prior to the Supreme Court rendering its decision. They all got put on hold while we were waiting to see what happened in the Bruin case. Once that happened, the Attorney General, the state was part of the party, and a number of municipalities were. The Attorney General essentially got it settled based upon the new law that was adopted, and there was an attorney fee payment that needed to be paid. It was about $54,000, and the state paid the bulk of it, and the various municipalities, there weren't that many, made $1,500 contributions to it. So that's all we're approving. So there's not, I just gave you the details of what this memorandum were, but we always provide whenever we have litigation.
Right, it said on the top, like, privileged or whatever it was.
Always.
And, I just thought it was important because in reading this, this looks like maybe our police department did something wrong. But in reading through your documents, they followed the state law, basically, and state law was overturned in another state maybe or something, but has ramifications here. So, we did nothing wrong. Our police department did nothing wrong with this. This is just kind of like a settlement agreement on a national level thing.
That's exactly, the best way to put it. That's exactly what happened here. Correct.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Item 12 from the Department of Planning and Engineering. A, resolution refunding tree maintenance bond. B, resolution provides for the township acceptance of the constructed improvements under public bid number 21-30-01, 2021 roadway resurfacing program of various streets, contract 1, and authorizes final contract payment, including final retainage totaling in the amount of $269,466.16, and closeout of the construction project. C, resolution provides for senior resident refund for permit. D, resolution provides for the refund of the unused portion of the developer's escrow fees posed by Beechwood Shopping Center LLC for the planning board application number P9-2016. And E, resolution refunding cash performance to Pabla General Construction LLC, 125 Bernard Street, Carteret, New Jersey, 07008.
Counsel.
For 51 Running Road.
Hey, go ahead. No, finish up. I was going to ask you about one.
The rest are a lot of numbers, so I'll hold it at
Okay,
that.
all right.
Any questions or comments from my colleagues?
The resolution refunding the tree maintenance bond, as I had spoke, not in front of everybody, but on the side, we have to do better with the tree bond maintenance, because I'm looking around at people who may have planted the trees they were supposed to plant back in 2012 and other years. This is a problem because I don't really know if you planted those trees back. And people know that, any environmentalist knows that once you take those trees up, there's a lot of flooding. So that interferes with the neighborhood, and the flooding goes down into your basement, which didn't go down there before. And I just don't think we're paying enough attention to the trees and the trees being taken up or the trees being put back. And I just want us to do better. I want us to do better. I want us, if it's a 2-year bond, I need somebody to go out there and see. I need somebody to check on how many trees were taken away. So if you take away 15 trees and you tell me you're putting 4 back, but you don't even put those 4 back, I have a problem with that when it comes to trees, because the more we build, the more we overdevelop, that hurts us a lot. So, I'm okay right now, but for future reference, I don't think we should give money back unless we know for sure that these people are planting these trees back and these large corporations are planting these trees back to help our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any
Council
other
President.
comments or questions?
Yes, I'd like to see if I can get a list of the roads that were resurfaced on B. I'd like to just drive down the roads and make sure that they look nice, they're pitched properly. I've heard complaints from residents. I don't know if this is one of the areas. But in driving around, then if I see something, I'll bring it to Sonia's attention.
If we can provide that to the councilman.
Just to confirm, the closing out here is for 2021, so you're looking for the 2021 list?
Well, yes, this road improvement was from last year, so they're just looking to get the balance of their money that I guess that we've been holding. So yes, but the ones that pertain to this contract, actually, because I think we gave out a couple contracts, so the ones that pertain to this one. That's it, Council President.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Coyle.
to the administration, Sonia, is it possible just, I know he mentioned the list of streets. Now, this is for 2020, 2021.
That was the 2021 road program.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right, no problem.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Item 13 from the Department of Public Works. A, resolution to release street opening escrow. B, resolution awarding contract for public bid number 22-04-25 automated refuse containers not to exceed $150,000. C, resolution authorizing the Township of Edison to purchase one new and unused John Deere 35G compact excavator with options from Jesco Incorporated, $62,816.81. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, Council President?
Yes, Council Vice President Harris.
On B, are these going to be, are these containers going to be replacing current trash containers in the town? Or are they just extra ones?
We keep a certain surplus amount, and, for the ones that are trashed, if you will, or need a replacement, new residents, so it's just a surplus we keep on a rotating basis
Okay,
throughout
thank
the
you.
year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Council President,
Yes, Councilman Patel.
I did want to make a comment on B. The trash containers, the tops, I feel like they break very easily, at least anecdotally. I think 2 of mine broke. Maybe I just wanted to see if we can find something stronger for that particular piece so that they don't keep breaking.
I will pass that on.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Item 14 from the Department of Water and Sewer. A, resolution awarding contract for public bid number 220630, various water utility equipment not to exceed $66,599.55. Item B, resolution awarding contract for public bid number 22-02-01, water utility supplies and equipment not to exceed $425,000. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Item 15 from the Township Clerk. A, resolution approving a liquor license transfer from Wine Amphora to Wine and Liquor Club LLC, license 1205-44-067-001, 883 U.S. Highway, Sam's Club. And B, resolution awarding bid for retail consumption liquor license. And we are adding item C. Thank you. Resolution authorizing the sale of one plenary retail consumption liquor license and further authorizing the township clerk to advertise for bid proposals. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Item 16 from the council member of the planning board. Currently, we are still working as to who that will be, so there will be no report for this month. 17, discussion items. I'll start from my right. Councilman Brescher.
To the business administrator, I've asked for this in the past, but I'm trying to get a list of the cars that get taken home, because we have an ordinance, and what I hear, it doesn't match up with what our ordinance says. And it's not a problem if the administration would want to change the ordinance. They should just come to us and ask us to change it as a body. So if I can just get a list of whoever takes cars home, I don't know who that is.
Just for reference purposes, what is the ordinance that you're referring to?
Okay, in our ordinance, I don't know the number, but it says something to the effect of, this part I'm making up, okay? But it was like the BA, the chief of fire and police, and it might have said deputy chief even. I forgot, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, if I could just get a list of everybody that does take them and just see what they're doing, then we could have a conversation if you'd like to change that. You know, I'm sure we can do something with it. On the public advocate, I spoke to a couple of my colleagues that we've been reviewing it. Everybody's kind of reviewing it. We have certain issues with certain parts here and there that maybe we'd like to see modified, or I'd say we'd like to definitely see modified. I'd like to say that next week or the following week, we're going to get together. I'd like to get together and have a couple members of the public that seem like they're interested in this. And that would be more of a brainstorming type of thing. Something, because sometimes when you have a few extra people involved, we might come up with better ideas. And my next one is to the attorney. I know that I've struggled to try and get your legal bills, and I did. It looks like I received something on Area 51 with all the redactions. Then I'm not sure that, a sitting councilman who's supposed to approve this bill can approve the redactions. I did spend quite a bit of time trying to figure out maybe what you redacted, because I had asked for a copy of your privilege log, which would be a log of, everything that you would redact from me. That way I can get legal advice to see whether that was acceptable or not. But I didn't receive that. And that's been well over a week to give me the privilege log. I mean, you would need it to make it. So it almost seems like the law firm is being obstructionist in this case. But I'll tell you some of the things that don't make any sense. Like in here, there are references to prepared ordinance, and then it's blanked out. So like, how you're doing an ordinance for us, but then you won't tell me what the ordinance was about. So I don't know what happened. I don't think somebody actually looked at this. But how long would it take your firm to actually get me this privilege log that I'm asking for?
Well, the answer is for us to go through what, I don't know what you probably have, 500 pages of bills. It would probably take somewhere between 20 and 30 hours of attorney time. Honestly, Councilman, these were given to you as a courtesy. They weren't asked by the council in whole, and I didn't feel comfortable authorizing that kind of, $3,000 to $6,000 in legal fees for this. As I've indicated to you before, just like you and I have privilege and the council president and I have privilege when we speak, so does the administration. And I've tried to explain that, I guess, on a number of occasions. I'm always free to answer questions to you, but I think that before I would go and spend that much money on legal fees, I would need some direction from either the administration or from the council president, and he and I have spoken about this before. It's just very unusual. It's the first time in my career I've ever seen a council member ask for a privilege log. That's typically something that goes with an Oprah request, and this wasn't an Oprah request.
Okay, now I'd like to just comment and tell you that I have yet to have a legal firm on the Board of Education or on this dais ever blank out anything, never mind a third of everything that I'm given just
Well,
about.
it's certainly not a third,
Wait,
so that's
Counselor,
not
wait
fair.
a minute. I have the floor, so please. And Council President, if there's a way you can control the gentleman you have there, please. But, no, that's fine. I mean, when you stop Christo and it's okay, I wish Christo
Point of
was here.
order, let's please conduct business. Thank you.
Thank you. So my question is, you're telling me that I can't have it. I mean, I'm just asking you, because I will tell you this. I will take this to the Supreme Court for you, okay? I just don't want to cause the taxpayers to pay because you feel something. When other attorneys, Northgray's firm released everything to me. The school board released everything to me. Jonathan Bush's firm released everything to me. It's only your firm, sir. So either you're going to release it to me and you're going to say that, or you're not. Because your privilege log, you have deleted items here. When you delete them, you're supposed to keep the log. So now you're telling me it's going to be extra work because you didn't put the log together as to what you were redacting to begin with. So I almost think like you're setting us up. You had somebody that did some work, but they did it half, and now our residents are going to have to pay, is what you're telling me. So is it something that you're going to do or you're not? And then I'll hire an attorney. We will go to court. I will not settle. And whatever happens, happens.
The answer is you're asking us to create a log. That's different than asking us to redact documents, which is what we did. And so I just told you what the cost would be to do that. And once again, I wasn't authorized by the administration or the council to do that. And we gave them to you as a courtesy. And you and I have had this conversation before about the way the privilege applies. It applies to you just like it applies to the mayor and to the administration. I don't really have much else to say on the subject than that. Council President, you and I had a conversation about this also.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments or that you would like to proceed with?
No, I'll get a letter from my attorney.
Thank you. Councilman Coyle?
Thank you, Council President. I just want to first thank the mayor and the administration for listening to the residents of the Clara Barton section. I want to thank this council for showing up at different meetings in protests of closing our library in the Clara Barton section. I think this council and I think the residents in Clara Barton and the residents of Edison certainly understand the need for having a special needs center, a school, and it would be one of the first here in Edison, ran by the township. And that certainly is something I believe all of us want to see someday. However, in a residential area, a small neighborhood, it just didn't work. And I'm glad the mayor came personally to listen to the residents. And I think they found comfort in him backing out of this and moving forward with looking at other locations. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for standing up for what just was right and not making change. Although the library may not be used every day, but it was their safe place. It was their backup for many reasons. And I think it just worked out great. And I want to just thank each and every one of you for supporting that. I also just want to mention too, I don't have any issues with the bills that Mr. Brescher is discussing right now. And I think perhaps in the first round of receiving these bills, they were redacted. But later, I'm sure if it's something he needs, I've looked through that pile. I think a lot, it's not that much redacted, but I do understand your issue. It's,
Are you kidding me, Joe?
okay, well, it's 20% is redacted. But I think the renowned Coughlin firm is a great firm. I think they represent several municipalities. I haven't heard of any other councilman that was disappointed in their work or any residents. But this has been a 30-year stunt I've watched from here at the podium, people questioning the work of a law firm appointed by the mayor. So it's typical politics during a political year. So that's what I call it. And I do appreciate Mr. Brescher's work and what he does. He works hard for certain things, and this is his opinion. But in my opinion, I think they're a great firm, and I think Mr. Rodone does a great job for us. We're lucky to have him. And thank you, Council President.
Thank you, sir. Just as a general courtesy, we are not to question as to the motives as to what is brought about. Council members are willing and able to make all the comments that they see fit, but let's try to stay away from the insinuating what motives may or may not be. Thank you. Councilman Patel?
None, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Patil?
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple of follow-up through Council President question to our BA. Any status on the Windmore Way, the emergency water street opening, the type of job they did?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the name of the street?
Windmore Way. There was a street opening, the DPW confirmed there is a street opening application. Middlesex Water Company did a horrible job of patching the road. And I'm afraid that during the snowstorm, it's going to come out and it will be further damage to the pipeline.
I believe we provided an update, but I'll recirculate that.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Schiff Freeman?
Yes. First, to the administration, the Human Relations Board would like to have a meeting with the mayor because they need funds and stuff for their training and stuff, so they want to get all that clarified. So like, you can contact Bishop Brown and Maria Orchid to have a meeting behind that, okay? And I'm just want to express happiness for the new lunar year that has started. And my heart goes out to the tragedy in California as the people tried to enjoy the Lunar New Year, which is very good, very expressive, having a great, great time. And to the library, which I used to sit upon, people have to understand that I see people do data and stuff, but the library is not the library of yesteryear. In order for you to fill your libraries now, you have to have career stuff. You have to have jazz on a Sunday afternoon, like I go to Metuchen for that. You have to have other things in a library, because remember, people have Kindles and stuff now. So libraries have to be repurposed. Like we can't have our libraries and we can't have our school system stuck in the 50s. And talking about the 50s, as going this morning, where for the expansion of the Toth Health Center, when I went inside, I said, whoa, I'm in the 50s. So I'm glad that the council and the mayor has initiative to move ahead with our senior center and with our health services, because it's very, very important that we have that. And another thing, we were talking about the lunar parade and stuff that we were all invited to, and because we had parts in a position in the parade where we should be. And like Councilman Richard Brescia was asking me about the parade I was going to, and I showed him how I had the torn, my calf muscle, and he said he was gonna go and say that I'm faking, because I wrapped my leg up, but it was not a fake. I actually hurt myself. But to say that going forward, I want us in the school board to connect together. I want us to finally connect together. And I know that we can do better. And I know that the new board president, I don't think we've had a female president on the library board, and oh my goodness, I can't count the years that we've had one. So women don't feel slighted and stuff. I think that we should send out invitations when we're having big events to make sure we send it to our school board president, so women will feel okay in that position. And going forth, back and forth, we need to form some type of alliance, because I get very disturbed by people saying that we can't ever work together in this town. We're in this town, we're gonna be in this town unless some people are running away, a week or so from now. But we need to do better than we've been doing at all. So, and we had a great time at, it was last Friday night. I was at the New Beginnings, and some of our Human Relations Committee was there, and we had a Jewish and Christian ceremony, which was really great, because from the 60s, and we always locked arms during the 60s, and we sang the major song, We Shall Overcome. And it was very, very good. That was very, very, inspiring that we had that. The Cantus sang, and then we had a choir from New Hope Baptist Church sang, and it just was very inspiring to come to the Martin Luther King ceremony that Saturday and read. And I was very impressed with our children, how they believed in equality, how they knew, and how they read their stuff. And the younger ones drew pictures, but everything was equitable. Like, they're this generation that's going to show everybody, we're going to show you how all of us should get along. And then to come back on that Sunday of the MLK weekend to wind up with an honoring for Bonnie Watson Coleman was very, very good. And as Congressman Pizzone presented her, and he presented her with the award that she received at that time, and that was one of the most biggest interfaith. It was someone there from every religion was at that church at that time. So it was a very, very inspiring day. And we really, we really shared a lot together, and we really was together on what we have in common. See, the problem with us now, I don't know, in the 21st century, we spend more time on what we don't have in common, which is a very, very small part of it. So I'm just hoping for this year that we do better than we did last year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Schiff Freeman. Before I go to Council Vice President, I believe Councilman Patil was asking for one more comment.
Okay.
Thank you, Council President. And I thought it will be unfair if I don't thank Edison Police Department. Last Friday, we met at Minnibyville. Specifically, thank you, Officer Innocent, who was gracious enough to guide the resident and talking about and educating them about the neighborhood watch. There were more than 30 residents who were asking several questions, and he was with great patience. He was answering all of their questions. And again, thank you. It was a great meeting, and the residents were happy. And hopefully, they will form the neighborhood watch group. And for administration, and will be looking for the help in terms of getting the few signs installed in that neighborhood. I will send you the address of few streets. Again, thank you. Thank you, Edison Police Department.
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Council Vice President Harris?
Yes. First, I have some good news for Councilwoman Ship Freeman, and that is in talking about the library. One of the reasons that Alan Kleinman said he wanted to have me as the liaison was knowing that I am likely going to be the liaison on the Cultural Arts Committee. Not official yet, but he had said that he thought that the library board and the Cultural Arts Committee could be a good pairing, and that so things, programs like jazz or things like that at the library would be very much on the table. So I think you're going to see some good things that come from the pairing of those two entities. So I wanted to just say.
I'm hoping so, because we've been asking for a long time.
I know,
Yes,
I know.
for different things in that library. Yeah,
I'm on board.
and I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay, okay. I love a challenge. So I also wanted to hitchhike on what Councilman Brescher was saying and to responding to you, Joel Bassoff, about the public advocate. So Councilman Brescher and I had a really good discussion last Thursday about the public advocate and some, a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, and it sounds great, and, but there are some concerns about why so few townships in New Jersey have a public advocate. However, we feel it's only fair to the public and for those people who have been looking for this for some time to really do a deeper dive into what's involved, what are the parameters, what would it cost, and so on and so forth. And so, so I'm committed to doing this deep dive and getting some of the information. I can't promise anything in terms of whether or not we will wind up with a public advocate or put a resolution or an ordinance down, but certainly we're ready to go to the next step, and I look forward to working with Councilman Brescher on this. Thank you.
Thank you. And for myself, as I mentioned, in regards to the council subcommittees, I will have that finalized list for Wednesday, announcing during the president remarks. I saw online a missing student by the name of Lucas Tyndall, so I just wanted to put that out there. If you know any information, to please contact the Edison Police Department at 732-248-7400. Apparently, he was last seen about a week ago at 6 a.m. leaving for high school. So again, if anyone has any information, to please contact the police department. To kind of piggyback off of what Councilman Coyle has said in regards to the Clara Barton Library, one of the items that was discussed was communication. And I do know that a letter was sent out to the residents of the area. If by chance you did not receive a letter, please let myself or the administration know, because we want to make sure that that the communication is there. And yeah, I do understand that the letter is online, but not everyone is online, not everyone goes on Facebook or Nextdoor or anything like that, and we want to make sure that we get to every individual. In regards to that,
Council President, when you're talking about the Clara Barton Library, it extends over into Bottomtown, That's like our library too. We don't get letters over on that side. So when you're thinking Clara Barton, don't forget us little people up in Bottomtown.
I'll make sure to remember that, and likewise on the northern end of 08817 by the Roosevelt Park, like the apartments
No,
and such
we-
back there. Oh, I know Bottomtown
Yeah,
too.
we're way over
Main
by
Street.
the south, closer to south.
In regards to the residents of the neighborhood, please maintain in contact. Please formulate any ideas that you have for the promotion of the library, what events you might like to see there. Now, obviously, we've discussed about the separation of what the library board does and the council, but making recommendations such as the AARP Tax Preparation Assistance Program, which is happening at the main library, maybe that might be a good program to institute as well at the Clara Barton branch. One of the items that was mentioned during the conversations was traffic safety along Amboy Avenue. And one of the items that I've requested the administration to look into is on Amboy Avenue traveling westbound. Right now, the speed limit goes from 35 when you're going from Woodbridge towards Grandview and Route 1. It starts at 35 and then goes down to 25. But when it goes down to 25, that's right at the beginning of the commercial sector. So I'm asking, or I had asked the administration to look into if we can partner with the county about reducing the speed limit from 35 to 25 a little bit earlier, so that as vehicles enter into the commercial sector, that they're at least more of a controlled speed. And finally, it's been mentioned a couple of times about follow-ups with the council, where we're at with status updates for authorizations and such. Within the next 2 days, I started putting together an Excel list that I'll share with all my council colleagues that will have a list of authorizations and open bids for engineering projects, status and stage of previous redevelopment and rehabilitation areas, purchase authorizations, and resident and council requests, so that we can maintain a proper database and catalog of these items. Any other questions or comments or statements? Hearing none. Guess it would be motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night.